It's true. Every letter in the English language can be silent, and we're going to go through all of them. Starting off with things like aisle and debt. That one is pretty self-explanatory. Basically, what's happening here is with words like no, you can just clearly see that you are not pronouncing the G. It's just not there. And this is most clear in the vowels, because with the vowels, there's usually a lot of examples where this is the case. For example, with A, you have bread, where you don't say the A. You also have captain, where you just say the I, but you forget the A and you drop it. And with vowels, this happens quite often, like with E and with the other vowels. But let's go to the more interesting examples. So, for example, J. I can't say that, you know? Who knows who could be watching? Little joke for you. So, with something like February, now, some people pronounce it with the R, but by and large, it's just February, and you drop that first R. And there are also a lot of words that we've just basically taken from other languages, like rendezvous and faux, and obviously marijuana. And then there's the more complicated examples, like halfpenny. So this word in American English is more so pronounced halfpenny, but nobody really says it in American English anyway. It's not really our word. It's kind of just a British English word, so it's more halfpenny. And if we go to this word, you might be thinking that this is pronounced Millengavi or Millengave, but it's actually Mulgai, apparently, and it's a nice little quaint town in Scotland. So you do not pronounce the V in Mulgai. Where did my beautiful town go? Now, you might be thinking, English is just completely jacked up. Can't be salvaged. It's a messed up language, and we've got to leave it behind. Well, guess what? There's just as many problems with other languages, like Spanish. For example, why are there so many different ways to say por qué? You've got por qué and por qué and por qué and por qué, and they all mean something different. Now, of course, there's probably some worse examples than this in English, like the fact that we have 26 letters and all of them can be silent. But at the end of the day, every single language has its quirks because they've been built over extremely long periods of time, and they're just going to be special like that, except for maybe Esperanto. But Esperanto borrows some of its weirdness from other languages. And you might be thinking, well, you know what? We need a call to action. We need to get rid of all this weirdness, and we need to cut out everything that's not necessary. We'll talk faster, we'll reason faster, we'll just go through life faster if we just had a language that had no BS, and then we could just skip the dialogue tree. Well, this is not exactly correct, unfortunately. It would be nice if you could just sort of have it that way and take out all of the inefficiencies of life. But something important to note is that if you look at this study, you will see that some languages are spoken faster than other languages. For example, Spanish is a language that is spoken faster than English, so maybe they're just more efficient than us. The problem is, this study shows that if you have a language that is spoken faster, then the information per syllable is smaller. So Spanish is spoken faster and read faster, but there's less information per syllable. So you're saying the same amount that you would say in English if you translated it. It would just sound faster in Spanish. And this is across multiple different languages. This is with Japanese. One of the fastest spoken languages also has the most amount of redundancy. So it's not that our languages are inefficient or that we need to cut out all of the nonsense. It's just that our brains are really just that slow. And as human beings, we just kind of naturally reach the limit of communication with just about any language. So I'm here to tell you that it's not all doom and gloom. at the end of the day, languages are just special like that. And it's something, not that you have to deal with, but it's something nice to understand. Because every time you speak, you're bringing back a little bit of a little bit of the past, a little bit of artistic merit, even though there's that redundancy that always exists, even though there could be 26 letters and all of them could be silent and you could still have to write them out whenever you type something or write something. Even then, you're bringing back that little bit of culture, that little bit of sense that grounds us and makes us human. And isn't that okay to stop every now and then and just be forced to slow down? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe yes, maybe no. But at the end of the day, I'm not trying to speak in the LEET code. Computer science majors will just absolutely adore that joke. All right, I'm out. See you next week. I'm sorry I was one day late for this stream, but we should be back on schedule next week. We will be back on schedule next week. Not should. We will. That is all. And goodbye.